ability and allure, but the fact is, I mean, now we know from these internal documents and senior officials at the companies that they have been driving for decades to hit the perfect levels of each of these three ingredients, to the point where if they get it right, they know that they'll send us over the moon, the products will fly off the shelves, we'll buy more, we'll eat more, they'll make more money.
You ever find the smoking gun in there, that document that says something along the lines of, we're moving towards making this more addictive?
There actually is no single smoking gun. It's all over the place because, you know, you have to understand, and this is important, these are companies, and they're made to make money, and they're also under huge pressure from Wall Street. So some of my favorite chapters in the book are about companies who've actually tried to do the right thing by consumer health, improving the health profile of their products.
How did that work out for them?
Well, if they do it unilaterally, no, because they're trying to do it unilaterally, Wall Street steps up and goes, hey guys, what about these profit margins here? Let's go back to more salt, sugar, fat.
But isn't it discipline? I mean, what do you say about the person who, and I know some who I write about, who eats an entire bag of potato chips? Is that the company's fault?
The best experts on food addiction will tell you that for some people, many people, these highly loaded, especially sugar and fat products, are every bit as addictive as some narcotics. And their advice to those people is to stay away.
Literally stay away. You can't have them.
Yes.
You know, speaking of narcotics, I'm thinking back early in my career working for a very large soda company, and in all of their briefs, they had a very specific thing called when the soda hit your mouth, the moment of delight.
Yes.
That was the marketing brief. There was a certain way to do it, to capture what they called the moment of delight.
But what's the difference between the person who can have 1 or 2 moments of delight and the person who drinks 4 cans of soda?
Well, you know, it's the same difference between somebody that can go to bars socially and drink every night of the week and have 1 or 2 drinks and say, okay, time to go home.
Exactly.
And another person that can't cross that threshold. And let's face it, a lot of these companies make a lot of money on those people that can't just have one, that can't just close up the bag of potato chips.
Well, that's a really good point, Joe. In fact, they refer to their customers not as customers, but as heavy users. And those are the people, they target. You know, 20% of us consume 80% of the soda, and that's where they put their market.
So if this is a bad thing for our society, is this a job for government, in your view? Public pressure? What could break the cycle of our consumer addiction and individual addiction to these foods?
You know, I interviewed the former CEO of Philip Morris, which plays a huge role in this whole sequence because they owned Kraft during the surge of the
Kraft caramels are not addictive. They're just really good.
really good.
I love them myself. But he said, look, Michael, I am no friend of government regulation, but you're looking at a situation here with the food industry where it may make sense to impose more regulation on them simply to give them cover from Wall Street. Because again, even when they're well-meaning and trying to dial back on the loads of sugar, fat, and salt in their products, they can't do it. They'll get hammered by Wall Street. So I was really moved by him saying that, yeah, in this case, government regs may be the way to go.
All right.
And can I just say really quickly, and we want to read the statement, but for those that say the government doesn't have any role in this, and any regulation in this, I will only tell you what I say every day on this show. The 2 greatest drivers of long-term debt are Medicare and Medicaid. And if you look at people that have diabetes, and you look at the way the system's set up, if you look at people that have heart problems, that have strokes, that have cancer, it all feeds back to bad diets.
Yeah.
There is an economic stake in this federal government doing what it can do to get Americans to eat more healthy. And we can have that debate. We need to have that debate because it's not about morality. It's not about diet. It's about our fiscal future.
It's also about discriminating against people who are obese and putting them off in a category that is unfair and incorrect. And your book begins this process. You mentioned, by the way, in your book, and it came up in the article, the Lunchables. How many working mothers have bought Lunchables thinking you're actually buying some little balanced snack for your kids? I bought them.
I love them.
Those things
My kids
were
eat them.
they were not even remotely healthy.
What?
Correct?
And Kraft is trying to dial back under pressure from consumers now to improve the health profile of the Lunchable.
So they say that they've kind of taken some action here and reduced the sodium and the sugar.
What do they say? What do they say?
Well, the bottom line is they say for the last 10 years, Kraft has been listening to both critics and consumers. We're proud to say we've changed the way we make and market brands both we and consumers love. We've made good progress on our journey in reducing sodium, fat, and sugar and using ingredients with names consumers recognize. In fact, Lunchables is a good example of the actions we've taken. We've reduced sodium by 26%, fat by 20%, saturated fat by 26%, and calories by 14% over the last 10 years.
And by the way, the government's going to get involved, but you know the market also drives this too.
Totally. I think we're at a tipping point here. I think these companies are under increasing pressure from people who are increasingly caring about what we put into our bodies. At the same time, they're under increasing pressure from Wall Street. So there is this.
So important.
It is.
The book is Salt, Sugar, Fat, How the Food Giants Hooked Us. Michael Moss, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Michael. And like we said before, Mika talks about this a lot in Obsessed. When that book comes out, I think that's coming out in May.
Yeah.
But you can pre-order it right now on Amazon. Would love for you to come back because we're going to have a roundtable about American health.
I'd love to.